Reuters reports that Sam Bankman-Fried has made a new bail application after a magistrate judge rejected his initial request for bail on Tuesday. We're going to talk more about the collapse of FTX with investor Kevin O'Leary in the next hour. He'll be on to respond to this comment from Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao yesterday, which was made right here on Squawk Box.
Kevin O'Leary, he's making a bunch of nonsense claims. He says he didn't know that Binance was a shareholder of FTX. So he invested in FTX without looking at the cap table. But he was very specific in the way he counts for a transaction 2 years ago. So that's kind of contradictory. So I think Calvin's a liar.
All right, we got some drama to talk about today. We've seen all the drama in crypto land with the collapse and bankruptcy and fraud at FTX. I'm so happy that Sam Bankman-Fried is in jail. We have seen the back and forth about Binance. I'm concerned about Binance. I think Binance is going to be the next one to go. Just my opinion, and I'm going to do more research and share videos on that on this channel. But then we've also seen the back and forth between the Binance CEO, CZ, and Kevin O'Leary, who has been supporting Sam Bankman-Fried throughout this whole thing. And it's really interesting with Kevin O'Leary because he received $15 million from FTX, and then he's been on this sob story about how he lost $9 or $11 million or whatever. Well, guess what? He still has $4 to $5 million left over of customer funds, because that's what FTX paid him with, I believe, that he still made out great, right? So who cares about your losses, Kevin O'Leary? The problem is that you are straight up lying to people in this entire process, and I'm going to share some videos of why I think this is true. Basically what happened is Kevin O'Leary came on Squawk Box yesterday and said that he didn't know that Binance was an investor. He said a lot of things that just show that he did zero research when he invested in FTX / not really invested, but got a deal to be a spokesperson for them and recommend it to everybody. So really he did no research when he was recommending FTX for everybody and being a paid spokesperson. The reason he didn't care is because his investment in FTX didn't matter. It was money that he was getting from them anyways, right? So anyways, that's when there's no like financial loss, possibility for you, you're not going to do a lot of due diligence when you look into an investment. And, it'd be interesting to see, like, I don't know how many other firms, investors, VCs that invested in FTX, how many other of them were also basically paid to do that, and so therefore weren't really scrutinizing the company that closely. Maybe that's how they got through with a lot of these, big name VCs that invested in them, is really they weren't investing money that mattered to them. They were reinvesting money that they got paid from FTX anyway. So of course you're not going to do due diligence, and maybe Sam Bankman-Fried and the team knew that. And so that was their strategy, and that's how they got all this hype and all this money and got all of these people to spread their fraud. But anyways, Kevin O'Leary was alluding to the fact that he didn't know all of these things that were fraudulent under the company. So anyways, and he said that he didn't realize that Binance was an investor in FTX. Let's fast forward to today and watch Kevin O'Leary try to squirm his way out of this interview by lying.
He's a CNBC contributor, the host of CNBC's Money Court, and a Shark Tank investor. Kevin was also a paid spokesperson, importantly for FTX, and just testified in front of the Senate this week about all of this. Kevin, I want to get into a whole host of things about the situation, where it stands, your role with the creditors, and your comments about CZ at Binance and his comments about you that took place on this broadcast. But before we even do that, I just want to say there are a lot of people, and I see them on Twitter. They send me emails and the like, who are very uncomfortable about the role that you played as a spokesperson for FTX in all of this. And I just want to put that out there. But also, I think one of the reasons that they're particularly uncomfortable about it is that you have yet to condemn Sam Bankman-Fried. In fact, when this all first happened and the company went bankrupt, you said you would continue to support him and would actually invest behind him again. So I wanted to know whether you condemn him today.
So let's clean that up. First of all, that comment regarding backing him, that was made prior to all of these allegations. Obviously, he's uninvestable right now. But the point is, and I will continue to do this, for the last 15 years, I have invested in many entrepreneurs that have gone through catastrophic failures. That's not going to stop. Obviously, I can't invest in Sam Bankman-Fried. So that's out of the question. So let's absolutely clean that up. Regarding being a paid spokesperson, all of us feel foolish.
Okay, he still did not condemn him. He didn't say anything about, fraudulent, illegal. I wonder if there's more to this story with Kevin O'Leary and that he's being very careful with his words not to have Sam Bankman-Fried turn on him or something. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
As far as being an investor, I feel all of us, we feel like idiots. There's no question about it. We wear this. And normally, I want to point something out, Andrew, in venture investing, 8 out of 10 times the venture fails. And
yeah, 8 out of 10 times they fail, but not because of fraud. Come on.
Every venture that I invested in went to zero. I would need an apartment there. The point is, you fail a lot at this. This is a catastrophic failure. Reasons for failure are different. This one is alleged fraud. Regarding not condemning him, let me be very clear about this. This is America. The justice system.
This part right here is a complete joke. Like, he's trying to just make this stand and get on this soapbox of it as America. You're not part of the justice system, Kevin. You can have an opinion, and you could say that you were wrong and you invested in a complete fraud and just say it's just your opinion, right? Like, come on, you got people to invest their money and put their money here, and they lost millions of dollars, which you were part of a beneficiary of. Come on.
The system provides the assumption of innocence until proven otherwise. It's still America before Sam Bankman-Fried. It will be after Sam Bankman-Fried. Any individual is given that right, including Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, I understand that the herd is angry, and Twitter and all of the other social media platforms allow for that. So everybody out there has already become judge and jury and have already sentenced him. I get it. Many of those people in their lifetime are going to want to use the benefit of being a citizen that is assumed innocent until proven guilty. They just don't know it yet. So, sorry, not going to tell anybody they're guilty until they've gone through due process. Not now, not ever. Any individual.
Still avoiding the
Kevin,
whole point.
You are a principal in this drama. You are an actor in this drama, and you had a front row seat to Sam Bankman-Fried literally up until the very end. Given what you know about him personally, and given what you now know about the numbers and what has happened there, as you said, you're trying to get money back for creditors. What do you think happened? Do you believe this was a fraud?
I don't have the facts. John Ray doesn't have them yet. He's going to get them. I'm looking for my records. I'm willing to fund a forensic audit of our accounts. I'd like.
Kevin O'Leary is being so careful with his words here not to say that he thinks this is a fraud. It's either because he's worried about legal ramifications and something to do with his ability to get his own money back that, again, was really paid to him by FTX and his other people's money anyways. Or there's more to it, and I just don't know why he's so dedicated and aligned in being so careful about Sam Bankman-Fried. This isn't normal behavior. It's not. There's something going on here.
I'd like to know what happened, obviously. There's a lot of bad things that have been alleged here, no question about it. And some of them are going to be true, likely, because there's no money there. Somewhere, the cash is gone.
Right.
And so
because they stole it.
This is the beginning of a journey. You're right. I did speak with him prior to him going to jail because I'm just after the facts of where the cash was. Now, let me address something before we go any further. Yesterday on the air, CZ called me a liar. That suggests that I perjured myself in front of the U.S. Senate for 2 hours this week. I can assure you that is not the case. Another little parable here you should understand. When I was young, my birth father, who's Irish, put me on his knee.
Here we go. Another story about another thing that's unrelated. When people do this, it is an indication generally that they are lying.
And every Irishman will know this. And he said, son, never call an Irishman a liar unless you know with certainty that's true. And I said, why is that, Dad? He said, because the Irish are crazy. Now, I don't know what it meant back then, but I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that. So at the end of the day, I have no ill will to this guy, but he's part of the story too. And you found out yesterday, you did a little work with Squawk Box. We talked about it either being $2 billion or $3 billion, that transaction. That's the largest transaction, I think, of anything in there regarding the balance sheet in recent 24-month period. And he confirmed it was $2.1 billion. And then he confirmed that he still had 550 million, $500 million of FTT tokens. Now, at some point, we're going to look at that week of November 6th, and you ask anybody, why was Sam Bankman-Fried or the whole company FTX forced into bankruptcy? It was jamming down that last $500 million that gave them no option.
I have not seen this part yet, and I cannot believe he's going here. He is blaming FTX's bankruptcy on Binance, not on FTX being a complete fraud in not putting people's money where they say it is and converting that to FTT token and then lending that out to people when it's absolutely worthless. Holy cow. I cannot believe you're going here, Kevin. I cannot believe you're going here.
Option. Now, is that the fatal stroke or blow to get rid of your global competitor? I say yes.
Wow. What a joke.
I'll tell you something else. Right after that interview, I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, from a lobbyist in Washington saying, don't go anywhere, you're coming back. So I bet CZ bought himself an invitation to Washington yesterday. Can't wait to meet him there. We can go sightseeing.
I do agree that Binance is also most likely a fraud. That's my opinion, and I think Binance will be gone before the end of 2023.
Kevin, I suspect you might be right on that front. The only thing I'd say, even if that's the case, even if what he did led to the uncovering of what we now suspect, what's now been alleged in these documents or these complaints from the SEC and a criminal complaint too. I mean, the criminal complaint doesn't get into that as much as it gets into the idea that this was a fraud underneath it anyway. So if CZ did bring down the demise of this and let us see what was there, maybe all he did was sweep the tide out and we saw that SBF was swimming around naked. I mean, that may be the bigger issue here, that if he did do it, maybe it was a favor to everybody if they'd unveiled a Ponzi scheme that might have still been going on otherwise.
Well, remember, he was trying to buy the business at that time. On Wednesday, the idea was he was going to buy it.
Was he, or was he doing that just to throw more shade at him? I don't know.
Well, we don't know, but obviously if he thought there was fraud, he wouldn't have made an offer to buy it. So nobody knew, including, remember, this guy's a huge shareholder of FTX, or he was, and so he didn't see the fraud either. So at the end of the day...
Yeah, CZ either exposed this, A, because they wanted to get rid of a competitor, or B, because they saw something change and there was a risk to their business if FTX failed because of something with the underlying funds, the coins, FTT token, Binance, who knows. And so they wanted to stop that, just like FTX was acquiring all these different companies to shore up their own assets and stop a bank run from happening. I think that's a potential. And then C is, I think, the least likely thing, that they genuinely just wanted to buy the company because they thought it would be a good acquisition. I think that's the least likely out of those three scenarios.
Question becomes clawback. You've been talking about it for the last 2 days. Is that $2.1 billion Madoff-style clawback? Who knows? But if I get on that credit committee, I'll be one of the guys doing the clawing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, then you should have to give your money back too, Kevin, even though it's gone, I guess, whatever. If there's clawbacks, you need to be clawing your own money back.
Because I think at the end of the day, every shareholder and account holder has to have an answer to what happened here. I normally would have written this off like the other 8 venture investments, but not this one. I'm staying on this one right to the end. I'm going to teach this course at Harvard one day in my guest lecturing. This is going to be a case. This will be a chestnut. This is an extraordinary situation right now.
So, Kevin,
and you're part of what caused it.
So quick. It seems like only yesterday, I was totally arguing with you on Squawk Box. You went from Charlie Munger's view on Bitcoin to Michael Saylor's view on Bitcoin. And I actually kidded you about it. I said, who are you? You may know nothing, but you're never in doubt. You're so strident when you said it was just worthless and rat poison. And then 6 months later, you're like this Bitcoin bull. So I didn't understand that conversion. Did that conversion coincide with the 15 million that you got from FTX?
This is a great question.
No, I was investing 3.5 years earlier than that. I changed my mind back in early 2018 when I saw the regulators in jurisdictions like Canada, Switzerland, and Abu Dhabi start to change their minds. But I'll tell you what really got me investing, Joe. You know, I mentioned these guest lecturing things I do. They're usually to graduating cohorts of engineers. And so these are classes at 6 to 9 at night. And these are the best and brightest at MIT or in business school at Harvard. I started to notice back in 2018, I'd say, okay, wait, where are you guys going? Where are you going? Because about a third of
Okay, let's look at the timing. When were you coming out publicly pushing crypto? Okay, you're such a liar. He's such a liar.
the class will create entrepreneurial efforts and they'll start businesses. They're all going to the blockchain. You can't spend that much
No, I
intellectual.
understand. I believed it back then. I'm just trying to figure why.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you.
Thank you. This is a good
You just
interview.
said you made this conversion in what year?
I think it was 2018 I started investing.
Now I think it was. Just a second ago, he said 2018. Now he says, I think it was. Lying. Lying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just for, as a point of fact, for what it's worth, May 14th, 2019, you came on television and called Bitcoin garbage.
Boom! Andrew, crushing it. Great job.
Just
Then I'm wrong. It's the year later.
And keeps it in
I'm
terms
sorry,
of
guys.
And keeping the time, but
This
also,
is awesome.
Kevin, so prior to that, you hadn't looked at it at all. I wonder about Munger. I wonder about a lot of it. Most of the people
He's lying.
Beanie Babies have never looked into actually how it works. Had you not looked into it, and yet you had those very strong opinions about it?
I remember, I think it was 2017, coming on Squawk Box talking about the tokenization of a
Looking to the right. He's looking off to the... He's lying.
hotel in New York. And the regulator let me know right after that they were not okay with that. And that was the beginning of realizing, wow, things are tough out here with this crypto stuff. Right. But maybe you're right, Andrew. Maybe I started 2019. But the point is, it was long before I became a paid spokesperson, years before.
Yeah.
So it didn't change my mind to be paid or, go through that whole process. I'm an advocate of this because I think the productivity available in crypto and particularly payment systems looks extraordinary. And I understand the incumbents and the banking system is really trying to shut this down, but the fact is it's a threatening technology and disruption's always abhorred by the existing incumbents.
Kevin, let me ask you a different question, which is, I think you want to get on this creditor committee, and one of the arguments you've made in a sort of, if this is a Madoff-style Ponzi scheme, is that effectively Binance and CZ should the money that went to them, I think you're arguing, should be clawed back. Typically, when that happens, you have to, or at least historically, have to show to some degree that they were, quote unquote, in on the fraud or knew about it or were part of a conspiracy, if you will. The question is how you differentiate, and I'll be very straight with you, how you differentiate them versus yourself, insofar as there could be an argument to be made, given the work that you did for FTX, that in fact, whatever money you were given, now I know you would say that you're now down to zero, that whatever that is should be clawed back, that in fact that you wouldn't be a creditor.
Well, it's interesting, and I'm happy to have that discussion with you, but I have been clawed back to zero already. I've given it back to somebody, I just don't know who yet, and I want to find out because I'd like to get on that credit committee and start looking for the trail because there's no question about it.
No. You were given this money. You chose to invest it in something. Supposedly, I bet there's probably still some left somewhere. Who knows? This would be like if you get money and you invest it in a stock that goes to zero. If the company that you got the money from, if this clawback thing happens, you still owe that money back. You were given that money and you invested it in something and it went to zero. According to your logic that you said with the whole clawback thing and what you're saying, Binance, how they would have to give this money back. According to that logic, you would have to give this money back as well. I agree with Andrew on this point.
Not the only person whose account was scraped to zero, not just the tokens, but also all the accounting records.
Who cares about your account?
And regarding the CZ situation, it's not that easy. These are the two largest shareholders doing a transaction together. CZ is a 20% shareholder. We learned that again yesterday. That's a lot.
To put a fine point on it, though, one of the things that he suggested you were lying about, if I understood it, and there was a number of components to, I think, what he was trying to say, but maybe not as clearly as we all would have liked to at least understand. The idea that when you became a spokesperson for the company, that you didn't look at the cap table and understand the relationship that Binance had with FTX.
Look, no one did, obviously, including CZ. He's a 20% shareholder. He should have had much more access to that data than I did.
What are you talking about?
That's a significant shareholding. So at the end of the day, every investor.
He completely avoided the question.
All 90 of us from these are the who's who of venture investing, Sequoia on down. We all look like idiots. I agree with you there.
Do you think the public should think about you differently, though? I mean, we were talking about actually endorsements and endorsees. You know, obviously, you know, Larry David was in the FTX Super Bowl commercial. Tom Brady took on his role as a spokesman of sorts for the company. You're a spokesman for the sorts of the company. Not of sorts, but were. It's funny. I don't know if it's funny. Some people wouldn't expect a Larry David or a Tom Brady, maybe fairly or unfairly, to either have known or understood or necessarily done all the diligence that they should have done.
Well, let me tell you why.
But they look at you and they think that you should have.
Well, that's interesting to differentiate me. I can tell you.
Because you're a financial contributor, Kevin, and a businessman.
Differently. But let me tell you what the theory was and why Sam Bankman-Fried was hiring all these people. He was very jealous of the accounts that Coinbase had, and he wanted to figure out how to build.
The lesson here is that, I think there's more nonsense that's going to come out of crypto. I think 2023 is also going to be a really tough year because the way this stuff works, when any startup is unprofitable and heavily investing for growth, if they lose their revenue, if you're a exchange, if you lose transaction volume, if your investments go down and if you can't raise more money, these types of things, then you can't not continue running your business. I think that there is a chance that at the very least that happens to Binance. There's also a chance, I think, that there's more going on under the hood that we don't know about yet, and there might be, you know, some similar situations that have happened with these other exchanges. But the other thing is, like Kevin O'Leary was seen as this person that is such a smart business person, and if this whole thing has proven, even 21, and even in stocks, and even my YouTube channel, like if this has proven nothing else, it's that you need to watch multiple opinions, do your own research, and people's opinions and my channel can give you a perspective on things, but always do your own work and don't just follow people into things. That's the perspective. And then I'm really interested to see, I'm going to keep following this Kevin O'Leary Binance thing because I think there's more to come from this. And I think I would never, ever give Kevin O'Leary another sliver of credibility or belief. I would actually believe Jim Cramer more than I would believe Kevin O'Leary on things moving forward. So let me know what you think in the comments.